What's up, everyone? It's that week where I get to talk about all my pre-launch kit thoughts. They're all gonna drop here. I mean, we've already talked about the blast and the brush, which are new, but now we got to talk about all of the kits. And yeah, these were certainly a debate on Twitter. So let's talk about them. First up, we got the Cherry H3 nozzle. I mean, the H3 nozzle nose. It's the Cherry kit. It's the Cherry kit. It's being repeated again, and yeah. So I'll say personally, I'm biased and I like this kit, and I'll talk about it in a little bit, but I also am not going to sugarcoat it. This kit's probably not going to be very good, and I don't think this main weapon's going to see much use. So let's talk about it. Let's get the good news out of the way first. This thing will absolutely be miles better than vanilla H3. Splash Wall is pretty much the absolute best sub this weapon could have, because H3 is kind of main strength. Something it does very well right now is just its ability to paint really, really far away. Like, this is just incredibly safe and an incredibly large amount of paint. And unlike Splatoon 2, this thing isn't cursed with 220p, so it's gonna have really, really solid special output. And Wall gives away for a weapon that, you know, is normally way too slow to be able to take advantage of it, to be able to stand in the open, to be able to poke people, to be able to contest and control space. That being said, if it doesn't have a special that gets it in, it's going to struggle a lot on lockout, and it has Bubble. Now I'll be honest, I think Bubble, and many of the same reasons as Wall, is absolutely great for the main weapon. The problem is that Bubble is absolutely terrible in this game, and it's terrible in this game because this is how Bubble works. You walk through the only path you can walk in from, because that's how these maps work, and the flanks are too bad if they even exist. There's 4 people on the other team, you pop your bubble, the bubble instantly dies, and because you're an H3 with no mobility, you die. Yeah, you'll have a wall, probably inside the bubble, so maybe if the bubble dies, your wall could help tank for a little bit longer, and maybe sometimes that'll get you out of it, but good luck with that. It's gonna be a bit difficult. And that's not even accounting for stuff like Crab, which are going to mow down both of these things without a care in the world. Bubble is really a special that is made for off angles. That is what it is good at. Having something that takes resources that's also where the rest of your team is not really that good on its own. You know? But having a bubble like on the side, to where you have to deal with either 3 people running at you, or 1 dude constantly poking your team, painting over you, and on top of that, you don't have the time to go and take care of him because you have to break through the bubble. That's what makes the special good. And that doesn't exist. And it's really hard to buff the special without making it unhealthy. So, I mean, I feel like, in general, everything with Bubble is kind of screwed. I don't think it's unique to this. I think the only weapon here that might not be screwed because of Bubble is Roller. Because Roller is kind of a weapon worth investing into, and Curling's really strong for it, and it's not really... This thing doesn't really care about the special that much. Blaster isn't strong enough to the point where it needs to care about the special. This thing outputs a special, and... This weapon is good, but on lockout, I think it's too weak to the point where it does actually need a better special. This one's at least close, though. So, you know, H3, on the other hand, it's just not that great a main weapon anyway. You know, it's very slow, it has a hard time getting kills, its damage to objects is really bad. It's struggled a lot since transitioning to this game, and I don't think this kit, or even a kit a bit better than this, would be enough to make it anything other than a mid-tier. I could see it being a tower control niche. Maybe. I don't know. But for the most part, I think this is just mid. If they ever redesign the maps, then this weapon will be very interesting. Until then, it'll be fun. Rapid Blaster. So, a lot of people have been hating on the fact that this has line marker. Let's get the easy stuff out of the way again. First off, like with the previous one, this is easily going to be the best of the 2 Rapid Blaster kits, because the other one has Ink Vacuum and Toxic Mist, both of which are really, really bad. On top of that, Killer Whale on this weapon is really, really good. Whale is very nice for weapons that can kind of easily deal damage that combos with it. 85 and 70 damage with 2 indirects, for instance, are both good numbers for that. It also locates people and tracks them through walls, which makes it very easy to follow up on, and it's an entry tool. It's a mediocre entry tool right now, but it shouldn't be anything better considering, you know, global range, auto-locking special. And the synergy with Rapid Pro absolutely makes it worth it, especially if you run other weapons in your comp that can take advantage of the whale damage. Great special for the weapon. So let's get to the part that everyone's ragging on. Yeah, this thing, the dart. Oh boy. Dart. Woo. So let's get over the basic use cases. It can locate people. only for 5 seconds. It has a damage combo, only if you hit a super difficult direct hit, which, yes, can sometimes be faster. And it can paint a wall. Or, like, your feet if you're trying to run away. And it's cheap. That's it. Like, all of those are strengths. But, like, does it contribute to actually doing anything to where it's worth 40% of your ink tank? Probably not. Like, there'll be some niche cases. Mainly, like, you'll go for the combo sometimes because the other way of getting a kill will just be too slow. Like, you'll need a direct plus dart combo. It's, like, your only way to kill fast enough, you know? Like, Bucket does it sometimes for the same reason. Here's the thing. Line Marker's just a terrible sub. Luckily, Rapid Pro isn't that sub-dependent a weapon. It would have been nicer if it got something different, but it could definitely live with Marker. And I have one piece of good news for any Rapid Pro players. There's one change that Line Marker absolutely needs to be good. They could make this thing do way more damage and locate for way longer and travel way further, and none of those would make the sub good enough. There's one change they can do that would fix the sub's problems. That needs to do damage. The actual wire, tripwire, line itself. If that was able to do damage, suddenly, this thing has more of an impact even when it's not in direct line of sight. Suddenly, this thing has a much higher chance of hitting someone, and then you could use that to combo with a direct hit. It probably won't combo with indirects because there's no way in hell they'd let the line do 30 damage. I mean, it would be nice if they did. It would make it really good for Rapid, but also I don't see it happening. But if it's able to do at least 15 damage with the line, I think it would work okay for Rapid. It would still not be amazing, but it would be able to work. Line Marker needs to do damage with the line. The ability to affect outside of direct line of sight, to have way more leniency, way more reliability, especially for a combo that this weapon could actually use, I think is what it needs. Until it gets that, I think it'll be a mid to high tier weapon. I'll be honest, I think Rapids are very overrated in this game. They are very slow, they have a lot of downtime, and they take a while to kill. They don't get to break ink armor for free in this game, so it's just not as strong. And also machines in the game. This one is at least a different role compared to most of the other blasters. Like, this is much more of the anchor type weapon, so I could see it maybe. But it's definitely still going to be, like, good Rapid players will probably be able to make this work if Killer Whale is not unusually expensive. But I don't think it's worth picking for non-Rapid players. So yeah, kit's a bit better than people give it credit for. Still not very good, and, you know, that's a problem. I don't want to get too far into the kit discourse. In fact, I'm doing a video on it Wednesday to some degree. But I'll just say this. Kits that have good synergy with the weapon and are, like, mediocre to high tier sound nice in theory. When they go up against this, which is not just a great kit, but also is 190p for no reason, then it might be a bit more of a problem. Stuff like this has to be toned back. Not enough for it to not be in the meta because it's a very healthy meta weapon, but enough for its relative kit value while still feeling strong to not drastically overcase or overshadow other, you know, solid, decent at best weapon kits. This stuff can't be 190p. The strong kits in this game have to be 210 to 220. Like, they just have to. So, if stuff like Machine, Ballpoint, and Splash are toned back a tiny bit, not enough to kick them out of the meta, but enough to make other options a bit better, I think a lot of the kits we're going to see this season, but especially stuff like Rapid, are going to have a lot better of a chance of seeing use. But yeah, that's my thoughts. H3 is low to mid, Rapid Pro is high to mid. Cool.